As a barrister and former partner in a major national law firm, Adam has dedicated years to public interest campaigning for workplace rights, fighting the exploitation of sweatshop labour and increasing the wages of our lowest paid workers. As the member for Melbourne, Adam advocates the Melbourne residents' real values on issues. So please welcome Adam Bandt.
Thank you very much, and it is so amazing to see so many of you here. You give yourself a huge round of applause. On Thursday, I won't need freedom from my party's policy because I have a bill in Parliament that will, if it's passed, ban live animal exports. And I want to tell you why. First and foremost, it is wrong and unethical to send our animals overseas to be killed cruelly. And it is a basic moral position that I think the majority of the Australian population agrees with. I spent my university years in Fremantle in Western Australia, where every week you would see truckloads of sheep being taken down to the wharves and loaded onto boats, where they would stay there sometimes for weeks before being shipped off, often in the appalling West Australian summer heat. And you could smell it across the city, and that was the stench of death, because live animal exports are shiploads of misery. And we know that thousands of animals die on the trip. And the ones who make it there, and this is the other reason why ethically this is just not a defensible practice, the ones who make it there, we have no control over how those animals are slaughtered. And for years and years, many of you who have been campaigning have known exactly what's been going on. But now, thanks to the fantastic work of Lynn White and the RSPCA and all of the others, now everyone knows what is the way to go. And this, for me, has been an issue where I have been overwhelmed with public support since introducing our bill. And as mentioned before, it's not just been from those of you who've been campaigning for this, it's been from the whole of the Australian public, including from Australian farmers who have been sold a dud by the government and Meat and Livestock Australia, who have been told, who've been forced to pay for a levy for many, many years now, and they've had millions of dollars going to a body that has done nothing to improve standards and in fact has sold them a lie. And there have been many, many farmers who have been shocked that this is what has been happening to their animals when they've been sending them overseas, and they want change. And we now have a fantastic opportunity to bring that change about and see the end of a practice that is unethical and unsustainable, and it is not delivering the economic return to Australia that our agricultural industry could. Because as we've heard before, we get 20% better bang for our buck if we're going to eat animals if we process them here, and if we send them shipped overseas. Now, one of the things that I heard during the course of the parliamentary debate was that if we ban live animal exports, then people in Indonesia are going to starve. Well, I've heard everything. I've heard everything over the last couple of months. But this is a country where, on average, families, households eat maximum 2 kilograms of beef per year. And this is a country where, as you've heard, they're working towards being self-sustainable for their own beef industry in a couple of years' time. And if we put the effort in Australia, if we, instead of funding a body that does nothing to protect animals, if we instead use that to transition our agricultural industry and our livestock industry into domestic processing, we are going to see better bang for our buck here, and we are going to know that animals are going to be better treated, because I think it is absolutely fanciful for the government to say that we can resume the trade because we now have confidence in how animals are going to be killed. Because if there's one thing you know about Australians going over to Bali and Indonesia, is they don't behave the same as they do at home when they go. And I think that holds equally as much for our export industry. And to think that we can have an Australian inspector standing by every time someone slaughters an animal in Indonesia or Malaysia or some other country is just wrong-headed, fanciful thinking. And it's time to stand up for what the Australian people are asking for, and that is fair and humane treatment of our animals. We have the opportunity to vote for the first time in Australian Parliament to ban live exports. And I want to make sure that each one of you, I want to ask you to promise to do something, and that is, if you haven't already, go home and email and ring your MP, they'll be up in Canberra from Monday, and ask them how they're going to vote on Thursday. Ask them whether they are going to continue to support a cruel and unjust practice, or whether they are going to stand up for what the Australian people want and vote for the change that we are demanding. And so I want you all to promise me that you're going to do that, because on Thursday I will be saying, when the bill comes on for a vote, I will be saying to the government and to our Minister for Agriculture, that's what I'll be saying. It is time for you to stop being an industry patsy, and it is time for you to stop selling a product that is unethical and unsustainable and uneconomic, and it's time for you and the government to stand up for local jobs, to stand up for rural communities, and to stand up for fair treatment of animals and ban live exports. Everything that you are doing, your presence here today, the letters that you've been writing, the phone calls that you've been making, is making a difference. You have now got, because of your efforts, because of the efforts of the RSPCA, and because of the efforts of Animal Australia and everyone else who's been campaigning on this for so many years, you have now got the nation focused on this issue, and you should be extraordinarily proud of that. Now, we may not win this vote on Thursday, but I am really hopeful that we will see members of Parliament from both sides breaking ranks and standing up for what's right, and I hope that you over the next few days will bring that pressure to bear on them. And I want to just conclude on a personal note on behalf of my two dogs, Max and Albie. I just would like to thank the RSPCA in particular for the fantastic work that they do. These were two dogs that were driven down from New South Wales because the RSPCA in Victoria has a much better kill policy, and they survived, and they're now celebrating their 1-year anniversary. So I'm just going to say happy birthday.